I'd like to introduce you Andrew Bailey, Astun Technology. So Andrew is a GIS consultant and he's going to talk to us all about QField and how can it fit in the enterprise. Okay. Oh, look at that, that's fancy. Get rid of my notification. Oh, thank God.
I'll tell you what,
So while I wait for Andrew there, we'll clearly cover a few aspects of QField and QFieldCloud and its API.
Hello. Little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about QField. Right, in an enterprise setting. So I work for Astun Technology. Most of our customers, they require some sort of mixed hand up. Yeah. Yeah, most of our customers require an enterprise setting where they can have various applications that have GIS data in it, and obviously spatial database is part of that. And they're also interested in going out in the field and capturing data using some sort of app. So there's quite a few available. Peter, wherever he is, will be showing you another one somewhere later on from Peter. So let me get started. So you can contact me if you want, Andrew Bailey at astuntechnology.com. I've given up on Twitter because of things in America. Well, hopefully you're with me on that. And you can find me on what's the other one? Find my friends. And well, yeah, I was going to say business for grinders. So hopefully I can do a little demo if I've got time for QField. But I'm just going to show you some various things. So to start off with, what does enterprise look like? Well, to me, this is kind of the smorgasbord of stuff that you might see for an organization. One big singular PostGIS database, maybe, with all your stuff in it. Some sort of ETL method to shunt data around, in and out. You can have web clients, desktop clients, probably some third-party software that's going to want to read your data. So you're going to want to have WFS, WMS, for that kind of stuff. Does it all sound familiar so far? For your users, they're going to want to access maybe restricted data. So you're going to want authentication. But also, they're going to edit the data. You're going to want to provide a paper trail so you can see who are the good editors and who are the people that shouldn't be trusted editing. So you want that kind of mechanism. And for an enterprise setting like a virtual private cloud, there are additional sort of maintenance costs. So everything that you introduce to that environment, you're going to have to maintain. So for us at Astun, we have to adhere to Cyber Essentials Plus. So we have to make sure all our software is up to date. And obviously there's server costs and that kind of thing as well, and backups, all that kind of business. And now we're going to introduce mobile data capture. So we're looking at QField and QFieldCloud. In fact, we've done a partnership with people responsible for QField. So I'm sure you guys know it's OpenGIS.ch, the Swiss people. The QField app is available on Android, iOS for iPhones. It's available on Linux and Mac and Windows. It's got Windows. Yeah, you can do it on all 5. OpenGIS started creating QField back in 2011, where it was called QGIS for Android. They have a 2-week cycle, so they're really fast on identifying bugs and fixing them and introducing new features, which is grand. They've got a big user base, so that's important for us. And they offer like 4 different components of their environment. So you've got QField, which is the app. QFieldCloud, that's the obviously cloud mechanism, but it allows people to download easily rather than connecting their phone to a laptop and downloading the project onto that. They can access the QFieldCloud and it brings down the project for them. So I'm so dry. I just grab my milkshake. Oh, I can't bear it. To get your project into QFieldCloud or onto QField itself, you have, I'm sure you're familiar with, there's a plugin. There's always a plugin for QGIS. This one's called QFieldCloud Sync plugin. And we'll touch upon the SDK, which they have. They've made that available. And that allows you to schedule like a download of the project if you want to get that onto a server. So, where am I going? So the benefits, I'll really skip through these very quick. QField, along with input, is it uses the QGIS libraries under the bonnet. So if you do any of those fantastic stylings that you can do in QGIS, it's going to be replicated on QField, which is great. It supports offline editing as well as online editing. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere, then it will keep a copy of those changes, and then when finally you get your 3G, 4G, 5G connection back, you can push those changes back, or if you're very confident with your connection, you can have it sort of in a kind of auto push mode. It supports multiple users for a project, and QFieldCloud, it's all sort of QFieldCloud kind of stuff. It supports the concept of different users, project rights, teams, different roles, and that kind of stuff. We'll come on to customizable forms on the next slide, but it allows you to use these widgets in QGIS. If you've never touched those before, it's worth a look because it allows people out in the field not to curse your name when it comes to entering like a Latin name for a tree or something like that. They can just pick it from the drop down, so it's nice and easy for them. QFieldCloud carries an audit trail, which is very important. And OpenGIS have done a lot of testing. They work very closely with providers for more like surveying kind of equipment, where you plug in the GNSS device. So it might be like a GPS on a stick, and you can point it to the corner of a building and get really nice high precision capture. They support tracking, which has no interest to me, but it's on the list. And plugins, so QField has its own set of plugins, which are different from QGIS. So I think it's kind of a new feature. The type of things they've done so far is a routing plugin. There's a guy who funded it and works in the middle of nowhere in a forest in Croatia. I think I hope I got that right. And he's spending all day in there. I think he might even camp. And by the time he's finished, he needs a route out because the forest is so big. So he hits this button and tells him how to get out and get back to that office. If you're crazy like he is, actually, he can generate, while he's walking his route, he can generate a layout of PDFs of the features that he's recorded, and you can even do an atlas. I'm impressed when I'm sitting at QGIS itself and generating an atlas of features. It creates a PDF for each different one, and you can do it on the phone as well. So I just blows my mind a bit. This is a snapshot of QGIS doing with the project that we're going to load into QFieldCloud. This is the attribute form. So for this one, we've got various things. So for a date that you're capturing, you can have a date widget. So just like any kind of form on your phone, you can pick the date from a calendar drop down. Things like numerical data, you've got sliders or plus minus kind of buttons. It's all really straightforward, nice and easy. The same project works with the input from the Litra guys. They're using the same sort of controls as far as I know. Yeah, so you can, in this case, I've got a tree species. That tree species is so long, I've got it as a non-spatial source in here, but you might have something like a tree condition, which is good, bad, dying, falling over. So if it's only 4 things, you can just have those in manually. This is a screenshot of QFieldCloud with a team set up. So everyone's an editor, apart from the first guy who's just a system account. I think if you're using OpenGIS, so the QFieldCloud, as you go to the main domain, which is QFieldCloud.org, no, QField.cloud, that's it. To get a team account, you need to pay for an organization membership, but for an individual, there's free licensing to create projects and do that kind of stuff. So it's straightforward. Okay, so our guys in an enterprise setting, they want to create data, but how do I let them write that data back to the database? Because we're behind the firewall. I don't want to release that data or make too many holes in the environment. So the next section is about 5 ideas for getting that data through to our enterprise setting. So 5 diagrams, all look very similar. I'm very sorry about it. So the first one is kind of the straightforward geo package to PostGIS. I don't know why I put so many clips on. So here we're creating a project in QField, downloading it to QField from QFieldCloud. They make edits, they push them back, and then we make use of the QFieldCloud SDK, which downloads the project and all those attachments. And then we just use OGR to get it into PostGIS. So the problem that irks me about that is that the PostGIS is not the master. There's no editing coming in from here from QGIS or any other client that we've got. So it's one-way traffic, which annoys me. I don't want that. So the next option is to have in QField, you can have a PostGIS layer. In the free version of QFieldCloud, it's online PostGIS layers only. So you have to pay a subscription to get the offline mode. So I think most people, but it depends where you are. If you're out in the woods, you probably want it offline, just to be sure. But in that case, yeah, you're gonna have to pay. The problem with this, hopefully you can see, so I didn't describe my diagrams. This bit is down here is my sort of enterprise setting. So that's the rest is sort of out in the internet. So I don't want QFieldCloud to talk to my Postgres database directly. It means I have to whitelist or use a database proxy to try and defend that database. It's not ideal. But it does give me the option for other clients such as QGIS or whatever to make edits to the same layer. So that's nice, but it has its drawbacks. So this one I haven't tested, but it is worth mentioning really. So I think it will work. So this is where you've got a geo package in your project in QField. But it's an S3 hosted geo package. So hopefully QFieldCloud doesn't mind about that, and it will be able to write to that S3 bucket, update the geo package. So that's nice. So these guys are happy. And down here I've got Postgres, and you can have what's called an OGR FDW foreign data wrapper extension that goes onto PostGIS. And that can read the S3 package. So it's kind of a pretense of, for these guys, that all your data is in PostGIS, when in actual fact some of it is elsewhere. As I say, I haven't tested it. Sorry. So it might work. It might work. 2 minutes. All right, okay. Here's another one I haven't tested. So QField it does support WFST. So you could put GeoServe or Tiny OWS down here. So your database is not exposed to QFieldCloud. So that's a little bit better. But yeah, I haven't tested it. And the one thing I want to get across is that it would be online connection only. But I don't see the reason why we can't have like an offline WFST. So when connection fails, then those changes are pushed to the WFST, and then they can write to the Postgres database once connection's back. The best option, as I should have got to this one really, is for a single organization where you only have to worry about your stuff, not customer stuff. If you can host QFieldCloud yourselves, because that way it's all within your environment. You're only exposing your QFieldCloud to your users, and everyone can edit the data, and you can do offline Postgres layer definitions. So that's probably the preference. So what one? The first consideration is, do you need editing both ways from desktop machines or just in the field? If it's just in the field, you're laughing, it's just geo packages and you're good, and you can just download it using the SDK. Do consider the data risks. I just want to mention this. Even for like environmental data, if you're out capturing, say, like endangered species or the nests of eagles up in Scotland, then your data could be sensitive. So you just want to make sure that the project in QFieldCloud isn't public, it's private, and that only you can access it. So hopefully the previous slides show you some mechanism of doing so. So if you can, I'd recommend self-hosting QFieldCloud via Docker. If you can do that, but also pay for support from OpenGIS, so they can then increase their features. If you've got time in your hands, try the S3 approach. I'd love to hear if that works. Or fund WFST offline, so that'd be rather nice. So I've only got one more slide, I think, which covers auditing. In QFieldCloud, when you submit a change, you can see it as an administrator. It's a lovely JSON that shows you what's been altered. It's kind of straightforward, but it's not particularly useful. They do include, if you set up your QGIS project correctly, you can put in the username, an environmental variable. So you've got username and user email that you can put in. So those will pick up and they'll record it. So I recommend doing that for your attributes. Just have 2 additional columns, include those variables. User doesn't have to see them, but the administrator can. You could, if you were crazy, is have individual WFS connections or Postgres connections, but my God, don't do that, I don't think. The other thing that's worth mentioning, if you're bringing data back to, go on to audit. So you can use GeoDiff, which is from Litra. If you're pushing back data into Postgres, you don't want to overwrite everything, just bring in the differences. You can use a combination of those two, and that will just keep a paper trail, Postgres paper trail. So there you go. I hope that's given food for thought.
Short for time now. I'd like to still give a chance for one question for Andrew. A quick one. And if not, I'm sure he'll give us a demo during the coffee break. Okay. There we go. Brilliant. So can I get Dennis to join us now, please?
minutes.
I think he's gone to the toilet.
Oh, okay.
Alistair, do you think you can jump in and plug the gap?
Well, I say it's a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Be on the same wall, the aircon is on. Fans that we can bring in.
So while we wait for Dennis, shall we get a few extra questions, maybe around QField? Any questions? Go on. Can you shout out or?
Yeah, if you want to set up a survey, a questionnaire, does that have to be done in QGIS, or can you do it on the web interface as well?
Just QGIS really, but it's absolutely straightforward.
Everybody heard that?